We are live.
It's gonna be as a next.
Yes, but just with projects, because that's all needs to be up. I mean,
No, I mean, that's.
I'm not currently using this one unless you need it. What do you want to use this one? To see the live stream?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I can do that actually.
Alright, folks, sorry for the delay, we are still getting kind of the technology issues, so we can broadcast through YouTube and have enough cameras to capture the meeting. So I am Bob Rice, I am Chair of Planning, and this is the zoning meeting. Commissioner Williamson is the Chair of zoning. And to start out, we will introduce ourselves, our district. And in the month of May, what is your primary hobby? Okay, because hobbies change depending on the seasons. So I will start. I'm Bob Rice. I am a commissioner from District 1, and I am chair of the planning committee. And my main hobby is the damn garden. And it's looking pretty good with all this rain. And we'll go this way.
I'm Nathan Harris, District 1. My spring hobby is, take yours. I would say dusting off the bicycle and getting on the trail.
I'm Jill Frost, District 2, and it's not a voluntary hobby, but it is watering everything that got planted on Mother's Day. Oh. Yes, I mean, like at 5 and 6 in the morning, so I beat the morning sun, and then I do it before I, turn in. They really are running me right now. Those plants are running me right now.
Elena Biffle at District 2. I would say get my bike back out for the season. Get my bike back out, get on the road, and the new bike lanes. My name is Lauren Davis, District 3 community member. I don't really know. May went by really fast, so I'm still working on that. It's not gonna pass.
Well, good evening. My name is Pamela Shields. I am with District 2 Community Representative. So I brought my happiness for May, which is to spend more time with my brother. Yay. Yes.
There's something alive in here.
Huh?
There's something alive in here.
Yes, it's a real bunny. Ladybug cakes. And the weather's been so beautiful, I just pulled her out. I said, come on, you gotta go. And the beauty is they make no noise. She's my emotional support animal, and I just love her. So thank you. Spend more time with her.
Yes.
On behalf of the bunny, quit spinning her around so fast. I think
Okay.
you're scaring her.
Okay, I will stop.
Just out of camera range. Good evening, everyone. My name is Fareed Benson, nearest area commissioner for District 4. I don't even know if I have a hobby right now at this moment, but it's always tinkering, and somehow I was able to do some of the technology in here. So that's what I'm doing, just things around the house, taking them apart, putting them back together.
To me?
Yes.
Roy Lowenstein, District 4 zoning chair. Hobbies, I don't know, this month, woodworking and gardening. Like the rain we had last week, like I never have seen things grow as fast.
That's right.
After that 3 inches of rain, gee. And then my other hobby is mowing the lawn.
Yes.
Joe Weingart, community member, District 2, zoning. My hobby for May is pretty much gardening and landscaping, because mine's kind of high maintenance. If I let it go, it gets away from me.
Tobias Katz, Commissioner, District 1, zoning. My hobby in May has been gardening. I just installed an arbor for my rose bushes up front because they were climbing into the sidewalk, so now they're climbing somewhere better.
Casey Chris for District 2, and mine is mowing.
Tony Rococo, District 4 Zoning Committee, member at large. I'm recovering from back surgery, so that's, I'm trying to get myself healthy.
All right, thank you. I have one announcement before we start with the, with old business. We received a notice from the city about the sale of a right-of-way on Richmond. Is anyone in the audience here for that particular sale? The answer is no, because this is an unusual thing for the city to send us. I don't think we need to do anything unless there's a community objection to the sale. And since I hear none, we will go on to old business. Yes.
Is it an alley? What's the nature of
You
the
know,
land that's being?
all I know is the person who wants to purchase it wants to put a garage on it. So I'm assuming, because all it does is give you the plots and where it is, it really doesn't tell you that it was an alley at one time. I'm suspecting it was, because it's the width of an alley. So the adjoining lot, the owner is purchasing the right of way from the city.
Commissioner Rice?
Yeah.
Can I say something about this?
Yes, please.
It's a 20 by 150 piece of ground. So it's a half a block's length of an alley next to the property involved. So it is not an alley that goes very far. It goes one block the other direction. And then continuing south, it sort of becomes part of the parking lot / driveway area for Asbury Methodist Church.
Okay.
So it sort of ends in there as if that part of it has already been, you know, privatized or sold, whatever, conveyed to the church. It might be, might not be. I didn't look that far. The point being, it doesn't go very far. It doesn't carry any traffic to speak of, really, just to go from the street to the east-west alley behind this property. So the owner, for some reason, wants to extend their property that 20 feet into it. Seems harmless. To me, there might be more to the story, but that's what it looks like.
So I didn't realize this was coming up because I have to speak up in case of this because I represent the church on selling their duplex. And according to the things that I have seen, there's already a pin on the other side of the alley indicating that the church has already owned that alley for a number of years.
Okay.
So that's why I'm a little confused because.
Well, the alley in question is north of the church. It's north. It runs from the alley, east-west alley, north of the church property to the next street.
Because it goes from the alley behind my house out to Clifton.
Okay, sure. So that's all it is.
Okay.
And so the adjacent owner on the west side of this alley doesn't have a garage or any access point on that in that 150 feet of depth.
Yes,
So
they
huh?
Yes, they do.
Well, no, but I mean, their garage is on the east-west alley, not on this. This is a north-south alley that they're asking to transfer. 150 feet.
But that alley already belongs to the church.
What alley belongs to the church?
The one that was immediately adjacent to the duplex when we were at the on-site visit.
I'm sorry, I really don't know what you're saying.
So if it helps, maybe just pulling up the addresses if we have them can help.
What I will do is I'll send you the email we got.
Okay.
And if you feel like there is a problem, please contact me.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Yeah. Because, I think you'll understand what the alley we're talking about is from the description that we got from the city.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
All right. We're gonna continue old business. The first property is 1106 Cole Street. Is there someone from? Yes, right there. So, you will have 3 minutes to describe your project. And, if you need to we have actually all of the documentation that was sent to us today. and we will put it up on the screen.
Okay.
If you have hard copies and somebody would like them, you-
Anyone else care for one?
I'll take this, like,
please introduce yourself and describe the project. And the
My-
variances that you
My name is Kelton Waller, and I am acting as a consultant to First Space LLC. They are the developer, and the applicant for the project. Like many of the projects in this part of town, there are a number of variances being sought, and they are largely,
Or have a seat, please, so you're in front of the camera.
okay, there's upgraded technology. since I
Yeah,
was
either
here last
behind the
time.
table or at the table, so whichever you prefer, and kind of make sure. I got that.
Okay. So, like many applications in this part of town, there are numerous variances due to the site size, side yard requirements, rear yard requirements, building setback, site size, site width. And, such is the case with this one. Do you wish for me to go through each of them, or do we just understand that the lot is 42 by 33, and so it just does not provide a lot of area to do much on the site? We're putting a single-family home on it, and because of the site constraints, we're having to build 3 stories. We're having parking and some living space on the first floor, and the remainder of the living areas are on the second and third floors.
So, when I hand the meeting off to zoning, with Commissioner Wilson, if they have questions about the variances, they can ask them.
Okay.
So are you done? Because let's go through the documentation that you sent us today, so we see what you're doing.
You can start at the first page or whatever page you'd like me to, just let me know. If you'd like to start at the top, it's just, I don't know if that's most useful for you.
Well, it's actually the site plan and the elevations that we need to
Okay.
look at.
They're down here, give me just a moment. We've got elevations here and then site plans below.
Okay, so this is a view from the southeast. This is just north of the canyon of I-70 right here. And this is Cole Street, which runs east and west along the north edge of I-70. Development's gonna take place here at Cole, and there's an alley right here whose name I don't recall right now. But this is an existing building on an adjacent lot, but this is our property, again, to be situated at Cole Street and the alley.
In terms of the housing that is already on Cole or the alley, so it's probably not, is there much building on the alley? Is this gonna be one of the first structures off the alley?
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of building on the alley. Most of the alley, I believe, is the rear of properties on the street at the other end of the block. I don't believe there's a lot that fronts onto the alley.
So are the houses on, typically the 3-story homes we see in the near east area?
Yeah, Oakwood Avenue, so the alley is Glover Alley, which is the rear of the Oakwood Avenue properties here.
Can I have Google Maps up here. There are no houses that face Cole. The houses face Oakwood and Champion. And there are very few garages along Glover Alley.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So yeah, it would be, it actually fronts Cole Street, but the access to the garage would be from Glover. Yeah, Glover or Clover? Glover. Glover, okay. Yeah. So we can go to the next slide, I think.
Okay.
So again, this is, Cole Street, lower alley, living area on the first level, and access to a one-car garage on the first level as well. And again, that garage is accessed via Glover. And this is the door which fronts onto Cole Street.
I like this much better than the original design.
Thank you. Yeah, they made some shifts to accommodate some of the comments from the commission. So yeah, we can go down to the next slide. That's fine. Again, here's our parcel. And well, slide back up so that everybody else can see visual. Well, right. To
Oh, right.
this one, yeah.
Okay.
So
A little lower.
there we go.
Apologies.
And we can see there's really nothing that fronts onto the alley. It's the rear of Oakwood and the rear of Champion. Now we can advance to the next one.
Absolutely.
Again, well, are you really interested in floor plans?
Sure.
Okay. Again, living area and garage on the first level, and front door fronting Cole Street. And then, yeah, you can keep going. And living areas, dining room, living room and bedroom on the second level, and another bedroom on the third. So it's, you can have a few folks here. I know there are some other developments that try to squeeze more than one unit into a site this size, but we felt it was, more apropos to just try to create a single family situation on a site that's between 12 and 1,300 square feet. So, and with that, we couldn't even meet the typical zoning requirement of 2 parking spaces per unit. We could only find a way to get 1 on there.
So my question about parking is, does Cole have street parking?
No, Cole is the street. It is sort of the raceway right by I-70.
So if they have more than one car.
You can park on Cole Street.
Say again?
At this,
You can park on Cole Street, yes. I live on Cole.
So this is,
You can
that's
park
okay.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
no space there.
I wouldn't want to, but
No, it's not ideal, but
yeah.
there's only parking on the side with, the apartment building, that red apartment building.
See, there's actually no cars there right now.
But yeah, there is parking there.
This is way past the highway exit.
Any other questions or comments from the planning committee? Yes.
In terms of, so my biggest concern with this location this entire time is that, you have this home, is there any space for yard with this house? Because I know that they were also planning on putting another development, on the Oakwood lot as well, that kind of butts up, to this, and the parking was going to be for the Oakwood lot, right where the cursor is.
Sure.
Just about, yeah. So is there any yard, because how, for this area specifically, we have a lot of abandoned homes in that particular, section. And even one that was built, or it's not finished at, Ohio, 2 houses in from Cole Street on Ohio, and it's still under construction for the foreseeable future. So, with the yard, what is the feasibility, or without a yard, what is the feasibility that family will move in and be able to utilize, this home fully? Or is it just going, or is it going to turn into, like an Airbnb situation, or, what?
And I did not have a long conversation with the developers regarding their target buyer for this particular property. I know a lot of us talked about our hobbies earlier, and certainly there could be some spots for some gardening, some plantings, but no, obviously with a site of only 12 or 1,300 square feet, there's not a lot of opportunity for outdoor area. Being, developed primarily for getting people into shelter, getting them into a house, and having a place to live. There are just some sites in the area that don't yield a lot of space for outdoor activity, and this is one of them. So developers trying to do what they can with it, and make it as livable as possible with what's
No,
available.
I understand. I want to make sure, the biggest, like, it's very modern, it's very, it's very beautiful, but just make sure that it's, I don't want to say livable, because of course it will be livable, but just, that it won't sit empty because there isn't a place to gather outside, that it does have a feeling of just this home, and that's kind of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, like,
Commissioner Benson?
So, yeah, bigger question. It's not necessarily a question, more of a comment. And I'd love to hear the folks in the community. This is kind of a question posed to everyone. Is as part of our planning committee, part of the things that we need to do is develop like planning principles for what we want the neighborhood to look like. We have some ideas and some things that we ask for as a group that I think is helpful, like asking for a porch to increase the chances of someone to be outside and engage with their neighbors. You're making a point about yard space, so folks can utilize that yard space, whether it's for a pet or a family, for kids to run around. There are different considerations when it comes to buying a home. One of the things is some people are going to want a yard. Some people are not going to want a yard. I personally was one of those folks that's looking for a house that did not have a yard. Has a small front yard. That's all the grass I got to cut. That's why that's not my hobby, is cutting grass. So I understand that concern. You have a family, you want folks to have outdoor space. So we're going to have stuff in our community that's going to have some of that outdoor space, some of maybe not as much. And I think as a committee, that's something that we need to look at, is look at the housing stock in our neighborhood, look at how much yard space some of the homes have, some of the homes don't have, and see if we've got a good balance, so that when we're asking these questions or wanting to understand a little bit more about who this is for, we have a better idea of what the neighborhood looks like in terms of yard space. So there are some community members I know still doing the thing. I'll pose that question to the community members as well that are when you have a moment to speak. If you'd like to see a neighborhood with more yard space for the housing stock here, less yard space, medium yard space, and if you think this is something that is good, bad, acceptable, or whatever else, I'll post that into the air for the chair decides for taking community comments.
Go ahead.
For what it's worth, to the east side of the building, there is 8 feet between the property line and the building. And some greenery is shown in that northeast corner. And so this strip of 8 feet along the east edge of the building is available for some
okay.
planting, walking, and not a lot of dog walking, but at least enough space for dogs to relieve themselves. And given the site, I think that's part of the reason why it's squeezed as close as it is to the west side of the site, so that we can utilize some space on the east side.
Well, I will admit, this is kind of a unique property in the fact that it's, even though the front door is on Cole is probably not, if it's traffic, it's to go from one place to the other. And so you really don't have neighbors per se, because you're on the alley. So it's a difficult property to make a family home. It's much more traditional space. Are you renting it or selling it?
And I've not had that specific discussion with the developer.
No. Any other planning comments? Yes.
I was gonna ask the rent versus own question as well. But because, and I wouldn't say don't do it or don't fit there, but because of the size of the structure and the lack of around space and the way it is it's kind of imposing, and we hear sometimes members of this committee will talk about how a property engages with the neighborhood. This doesn't necessarily engage as much as it barricades. You know what I mean? It looks very guarded and very safe, because there are no windows, and if there were windows, I can imagine there being bars here. But that's not what you're here to do, right? You're just here for the variances. That would be my only comment. I'm not married to a porch, I'm not married to a yard, I don't like to mow either. But, I guess if it is gonna be something planted as imposing a structure as it appears. And I'm not any of these architect, build or anything, but if there were more windows, if there was more something that made it look, to borrow, Commissioner Chris' word, to make it look more permeable,
Yes.
so that, light is moving through it and it, but I know you're not the architect either, but those would be my comments.
Yeah, especially on the south side,
Yeah.
and you've got a large sliding glass door on the east side, and of course, garage on the west side, but yeah, the Cold Street facade at the, it's a little austere along the Cold Street facade. I would concur with you on that.
I mean, there's no room for a fence, so the house has to be its own fence, right? So.
Yeah.
I got a front left elevation. Can you?
Yes.
Pull that up,
It's going really slow at that front left elevation.
Yeah,
It's loading. I tried to pull it up, give it just a little bit.
because this elevation, and this is one of the documents we received today, there are two balconies on the second and third floor on the front elevation.
Yeah, so that's.
Someday,
I
we'll
don't, it's loading. Yeah,
Engages. And I guess there was a decision to not engage with the freeway face of it and
Yeah,
engage
yeah.
a little more with the west facade.
Oh, I see you're doing it.
Yeah, sorry, I'm trying to, I don't know why it's loading everything except for that front. Okay, there we go. Front left, oh, okay. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Oh, that's, okay, they're all in the same folder, my bad, so that's the elevation, yeah. Scroll.
No, huh?
And there's probably
Yeah,
nothing
right.
that-
Yeah, yes, it's a different. Just not this elevation.
You should have it.
Folder.
So yeah, there's one on the third floor.
That front left elevation is 1106 Cole, correct?
So the west elevation as well as the north elevation have some outdoor space on the third floor.
So this is the way. Okay, yeah, so they're in the right, so that's not the correct, so it's just.
Sheet
I don't know where.
A30.
Okay, so let me go back to your original. Yeah, I've got it right here. It's
at the bottom of the application.
I've got it. It's I apologize. It's two separate files. That's why. So is there? You're saying this? There's another side elevation.
Yes, yeah, continue down to sheet A. If you have everything that, yeah, then you have everything.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So on the north side, and these actually connect to one another. So the north side and the west side, there is a balcony up there, which again allows some connection to the outside and feels a little less austere in that area, which is a contrast to what you see along Cold Street.
Any other questions from planning? Mr. Lowenstein, it's yours.
I have no one. Back to you.
Thank you. Any community comments? All right, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the project.
Second, Benson.
Somebody's got to move first.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were moving. I moved to approve the project, Benson.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, raise your hand, please. Let's see, that's, 2, 4, 6. All those opposed? No. Okay, 7-0. Any abstentions? Okay, 7-0-0. It's been approved. 6-0-6. So you hand them the, cards.
Yeah, so we need to schedule this for the site visit meeting on June 7th. We may have 4 of them, so I say we start at 9 o'clock on the 7th. Make sense to folks? Yep. All right, so I don't know if the order of these has been organized.
I can do that really quickly, so we're at.
Well, I think
It has.
it has been.
So these in good order, the way they are?
Yeah, you're starting south and going north.
All right, that's fine. So you can be at 9 o'clock, so these, you know the drill. Cards get filled out for June 7th, 9 o'clock. Okay,
All right.
here's the group. So you want to come shake them?
Yes.
So, you know, you have to get them filled out, turned in by next Tuesday, turned in to Mr. by.
Yeah, we talked earlier.
Very good.
Remind
Do
me
it
of the
tonight
process.
if you want to, while you're here. What?
Your chair,
All right,
About what?
the next, the
so
next
the folks in the
project
audience
under new
know,
business is
uh,
39 Lakewood Avenue.
process of-
Please introduce yourself and the
Good evening, how's everybody doing this evening? My name is Mason Sherman, I'm the owner of 39 Lakewood.
Commissioner Bobby.
Just for folks in the audience that may have never been a part of this process, the site visit time is what's on that card. So if you'd like to attend the site visit, you can attend at that time and date on the card. We'll be out there checking out the site.
My name is Mason Sherman, I'm the owner of 39 Linwood.
Your neighbor.
Yeah, I'm across the street. Would anybody like a hard copy? There's blueprints on the front, there's renderings and current photos of the property from the side.
Thank you.
Fire protector's supposed to be here, but he's currently on vacation, so. But I'm familiar with the project, if you answer any questions. So I built the house, obviously finished it about 1.5 years ago. When I did the original blueprints, I had put on there for a additional garage carriage house. When I built the house, I already poured the footers, poured the slab. There's a parking slab in the back right now. It has currently set up for 3 cars. I'm proposing to do a 3-story carriage house, mother-in-law suite in the back, which then will be a 2-car garage. It'll have a future sonic hole plunge down on the 1st floor and then living space on the 2nd and 3rd floors. The house is currently 3 stories, so the carriage house kind of matches the height. There's also a carriage house off the mansions on Broad Street that are also 3 stories as well. It still maintains a pretty large shared yard in between the carriage house and the main house, and then also next to the main house is a very large grass yard as well. And there's also some grass in the front. If you guys want to scroll down to the pictures of the current existing site, it'll kind of give you a better idea of where it's going and the layout. So that's a current picture. So it was front yard here, side yard here, and then this space right here is all grass and patio. And then as you can see, this is where the slab is, where the garage carriage house will go. I think there's more pictures if you want to scroll down, we'll post them as well.
No, it looks like it's page 14.
Yeah, that's the blueprints. There should be a
Oh,
second,
okay.
there should be a second file. The photos.
Let's see.
I have a thumb drive too.
Oh, I've got the thumb drive. Apologies.
So anyway, it's kind of a similar proposition as the last one. It's a 42-foot wide lot instead of 50, so it will still meets the side yard requirements, yes. But it doesn't. It's requesting 0% to the 25% rear yard, but there is still quite a bit of yard between the carriage house and the main house, and there's also grass on the side.
Sorry, it's just loading your file.
Oh, you're fine.
So, while we're waiting for it to load, are there any, questions or comments from the planning committee? Since some of you actually have a hard copy.
Okay, there it goes. Which one would you like me to scroll down to?
If you want to go down to the, there should be pictures. That's that page.
Oh, wait, so that's his thumb drive, not your thumb drive. You have your thumb drive. I apologize.
You're good.
I was like,
I had emailed them also, my office
oh,
manager
you're
had,
good.
so there you go. But in the renderings, you see, the dark color is going to be LP Smart Side. The color that's the greenish color is actually going to be more like a cedar type wood, so it'll kind of pop a little bit. It just didn't come out that way in the renderings. But it does have a lot of windows, a lot of doors that are going to open up, a lot of natural light patios you can walk out on the second and third floor.
I got you now. Just let me know which one that's you.
If you
Is that the house that's there now?
That's the house that I just built, yes.
Okay.
So if you scroll down, so on the front, I try to keep it looking with like the neighborhood at the back's a little bit more modern. But that's all brick facade on the front.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Do you want me to
keep going.
Okay, I just want to make
So
sure.
that's what the back of the house looks like currently. It's 2 stories there, but there's a rooftop patio on the 3rd floor. With another door that opens all the way up, so we'll be able to walk out onto that space. Go to the next one. That's what the sides of the house look like. Kind of 60 yards to the left. So if you look behind, this is the back deck here. This is that shared yard space here. This is going to build out to like with buildings, seating, and fire pit and stuff here. And then this is where the carriage house would go. It's currently parking, but that was proposed as a garage carriage house.
Is your plan to rent that space, or do you actually have a mother-in-law that you want to put in there?
I do. My mother has been asking to move up here. I was just in Mexico with her for Mother's Day, and she's been bugging me about moving up here from Athens. So, I haven't quite decided yet. Office manager's also interested in renting it. So I don't know, and I don't need as much space as I have in the front house even. So like for me, it's so beautiful. I kind of want to move into it now. So I'm a little undecided, but it'll stay with the property. I'm not selling the property. I'm not renting the property. So.
Any other planning questions? Commissioner Lowenstein, I hand it off to you.
Okay, first comment, I really feel that we should stop asking about the applicant's current plan for space, whether it's rented, sold, whatever, because whatever they tell us is not binding. And we have to make decisions based on what the structure is that's being proposed, not how they think they're going to use it. It's irrelevant. So a comment, because we keep doing that over and over again, as if we're gonna make a decision based on whether we like their plan for it. And it's like, but regardless of who's gonna live in it initially, it's like,
We can't govern against it.
No, yeah, not at all.
Yeah,
So,
but you
but I
live
think
next door, so if you live next door, it is relevant to you. It not when you make a decision here, it doesn't have anything to do here, but if I live next door, which I'm not
Sure.
next door, if I live next door and he says that, again, it has no bearing, he could change his mind tomorrow.
that's right.
So.
So I'm just saying, I feel like we need to move away from asking that question and focusing on it as if it mattered, because it just doesn't. So, please, it seems like the combination of this big fire pit area that you're gonna have, that's a piece of concrete that's gonna sit on. It seems like by the time we're left, we've really used up almost all the surface with impervious material. There's very little open space left that's not paved.
If you look to the side, to the right.
So I was gonna ask you, please define what that is.
Oh, so this is the picture from the rear. There's grass on this side.
Is that
So
helpful?
yeah, there's grass down this side. There's grass on this side. I don't know if you can get a shot looking back this direction or from the front, but this whole side of the house over,
Yeah, I'm trying to look for it. You got some
yeah,
side
so
shots.
from here, I've got, there's grass here, and then over here, between this house, the house there, and that fence, I think it's like 16 to 18 feet of grass, and it goes from here, then it will go all the way back to the carriage house. So, I mean, there's a pretty substantial amount of grass there.
Well, Commissioner Chris here is dying to ask you whether you can make that fire pit area,
Fire pit's already, isn't the
It's
fire
already
pit
made?
already a concrete pad, right?
Yes.
oh, it's already in, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
All right.
would have.
Well, anyway, I'm just saying that is a bit of a negative aspect of this, because you can imagine, we're seeing so much come in where people are trying to put a lot of building on the site and there's not much left. And while not everyone wants a backyard, not everyone wants to grow their grass and all of that, we end up with so much impervious material that we're dealing with more and more runoff. And we also have a problem with tree cover. In this neighborhood and the city of Columbus, there was a story was out in the paper just last week. Percentage of tree cover in Columbus is really pretty pathetic. It's under 20, I think it's about 25%. It's not very good, and that contributes to us having a heat island in this part of the city. And so it's like the more that we pave, the worse that we make that. So like your project's only one project, and that's why I'm bringing it up, is just because really it would be better not to pave as much and not to have so much water runoff. But it is what it is at this point.
There's actually 2 large trees on the property, and I'm retaining both of those trees.
Good.
And then also on the front yard to the left, I'm going to, you can kind of see this yard on there, but that really doesn't give it justice. Maybe if you do the straight down.
So, 3-story carriage houses, some of them come off nicely and some of them really seem out of place when you look at the neighborhood. You mentioned there's another one nearby. Where is that in proximity to this?
It's off of, the mansion's right here on Broad Street. There's a carriage house here behind this one, and then the one that just got bought by the nonprofit, they painted it all black. There's a 3-story carriage house behind that one, so it's really only like one lot away, it's catty corner.
Okay. Well, that's part of the reason we do site visit meetings. We'll be able to see it when we go there, but,
You'll be able to see the yard a little bit better as well. And then I'm planning on planting trees and shrubs. I wanna do like a decorative maple on that front as well.
sure. Anyone else on zoning have questions, comments?
I just wanted to swing back. So there's nothing between that and the corner.
No, there is a house there.
Yeah, this is an
But
outdated.
where the shadow is on the grass, that's where my fence line is. So that grass from that line over to my structure is that large side yard. I mean, you could put a garden in, it's big enough, obviously, if you wanted to put a pool, you could, but I'm not planning on it. But you could put a garden in, dog run, you could play cornhole right there. I have those in the basement. It's actually bigger than it looks from the photos.
What is the height difference between the main house and the 3-story?
They're pretty much the same.
They're close.
They're really close.
Anyone else on zoning have a question or comment? All right, I don't, back to you.
Any community comments?
About this project?
Acting. Yes. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Please introduce yourself.
My name is James Bell, BEL.
Go ahead.
Our comment is A. Well, I'm here as a teacher trying to educate students of Scout. We're trying to do citizenship in the community, which he's trying to engage in his community, to try and find out at the local politics level exactly how things get done. There were 2 questions about that they brought up in terms of the front of the building was correct. The back of the building was 3 stories with patio on the back. The aesthetics of the carriage house is going to be 2 with 2 bedrooms. How many baths?
It is 2.5 baths.
2.5 baths.
Yeah, 2 bedroom, 2.5.
So the basic capacity would be what? 4 people or 2 people?
You could have 4 people easily.
Okay. The runoff on the back, the entry to for the driveway is going to be from the back here.
You'll be able to enter it between the 2 houses. We'll have a main door. If you pull and park in the garage, there will be an entrance to go from the garage straight upstairs if you don't wanna go outside
And
before.
if I'm reading this
And then
correctly,
there's
it's
another-
right up here, right?
Yeah, it's right across the street.
Okay, so that isn't going to impede any kind of public safety issue that run around in this area in terms of people coming up and down the alley.
No, it shouldn't. I mean, that's probably, if you live there, it's gonna be safer because you can pull in your garage, shut your garage.
I'm not talking about for you, I'm talking about for everybody else.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Three-story building that high, it impedes anybody else from any of your neighbors from having a clear line of sight to the alley. Am I correct? Take a look.
You mean like the neighbors being able to see
If you're
the
gonna build
alley?
a three-story building in the back of your house,
Mhm.
somebody else is not necessarily gonna be able to see into the alley at any kind of angle, just like right. So that's really, it's peripheral view. You might wanna be able to see things that are aside from your house.
I mean, what would,
I mean, it's nothing,
I'm just asking, what do you mean seeing out, like for, like, in my current house, I have cameras, like, on all angles, so like, I always keep.
you got cameras, that's great.
Yeah, and I'll have them on the air trucks as well to watch the property. But I guess I don't want to leave.
He's saying that a neighbor could
this-
just look out
in
and like,
this
you know, you can look both ways before you cross the street. If you're walking in the alley, you would wanna look both ways, and he's saying that it would impede the sight lines.
In this particular, this street here
Right.
is a cut through for the kids who go to school. They come roaring through your alley all the time.
Right.
So just for periphery. I'm just speaking for the use of the area in terms of you're gonna build a three-story building back of house. So.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Benson?
Yeah, so it's to address your point, because I think this is a really good planning comment. Part of what happens in this process is, as it goes through the city will, they have their own requirements around health and safety, and whether they're, I've learned this recently, vision triangles and things like that when it comes to streets and alleys. So I think your point is, if someone is in their backyard, they used to be able to look down the alley, maybe not directly in the alley, but like through the backyard if there wasn't a very tall fence, and they could see the next property. With this in the way, they will not be able to see that. Whether or not that poses health has like a safety hazard, I think part of, if I understand correctly, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, part of what the city, from what I'm understanding, the projects come through, is something that they will also assess. I don't know if it's different, it being an alley versus it being street. There probably are different rules, but that is a thing that I understand that they look at. I'm not saying that's the reason not to vote for the building or to vote for the building, but yeah, you won't be able to see that.
Addressed at the site visit, correct?
I would leave that for the site or the zoning folks to
So are
answer.
we talking about corner, you know,
I think he means like, are people gonna look at that?
It doesn't apply in an alley.
So what we learned is down the street when it's a street for cars, it sounds like the vision triangle is something that applies, making sure people can see around corners if it's too far out or too small.
That doesn't apply, okay. In
But-
terms of the neighborhood aesthetic, I know you talked, it was a big thing in the first applicant, and this is the aesthetics of the neighborhood. It's also going to be addressed with that particular, that doesn't apply.
I don't know if it's the same
That's going to
thing.
be brought up at the zoning, at the site visit once, if it gets decided. And that would be brought up from the zoning committee.
But yes, that would be those folks.
We're planning, so we do consider aesthetics, but in terms of that, like zoning makes rules on the zone, or whether or not they keep zoning, I can't speak for that.
All right, any other comments? Hearing none, I'd like a motion to approve the project, please.
Motion to approve Benson.
Second?
Second.
She is second. All those in favor, raise your hand, please. Six. All those opposed? One. And any abstentions? One abstention. So it's 5-1-1. Commissioner
No, I think it's 7.
Here
That's
you-
all.
Here's
There's 4 here and 3 there.
Here are your cards, so we'll do, this is June 7th, and I think the other one is really a 15-minute. Do you think 9:20 look okay? Before we do that? So 9:20 will be the time.
Okay.
And of course, the location is the same as the address.
Okay, perfect.
Right? And so you need to fill those out with the dates and times for the nearest area commission, get them to Mr. Ovalle either tonight or by Tuesday at the latest.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Your flash drive, sir. Let me safely remove. Sir, your flash drive. Let me safely remove it. Give me 1 second so I don't break anything I don't need.
The next property is 257, 259 North Monroe.
Awesome, thank you.
Hey, you know, we didn't ask at all about the civic, whether
Oh,
the
no.
gentleman has,
Right.
Oh, and I was supposed to ask that question, I apologize. Have you been to Otina?
Old Town East Civic Association. It's not.
I think
Well, what? I'm sorry, what?
You said OT, not everyone
Old
knows
Town
that
East
acronym.
Neighborhood Association
You're not gonna
is the
explain it for
civic
me?
that serves the area, I think now.
Yeah,
our-
the architect was visiting them, like I said, they were supposed to be at the meeting
Okay.
tonight, they were on
They
vacation.
haven't been yet,
Oh, they haven't been?
not as of this afternoon.
Okay, they're on
No.
vacation, so.
Because they met yesterday and no one was there for this property.
Okay, I know, I saw an email chain where they were communicating with somebody, but I don't.
Yeah, I was with the commissioner for that district and she told me at 2 o'clock.
I know they're out of town, but I wasn't aware. Yeah, I apologize.
Well, you have time to meet with them because
Okay.
the site visit is the first Saturday and then the general body where there's a vote is the second Thursday of the month. So you have time to get to see Otina, I believe.
Okay.
We're
At
gonna
least-
wanna
at least-
hear before the whole full commission votes, we're
Okay.
gonna wanna hear that you talked to the Old Town East Neighborhood Association and what response you got.
Okay.
I apologize. Are you aware of how the process works? Because I feel like they're saying things and maybe.
I am not, I apologize, like I said.
No, you're
the
okay, you're okay,
The
that's-
architect was supposed to be doing all this, I
So
really
quick-
had no
quick
idea. I think they
explanation.
were supposed to be here last month, and they didn't come either, so it's.
If it's helpful, I'll just give you a quick rundown.
Yeah.
This is planning and zoning for
Okay.
nearest area commission. We kind of vote on, the planning side, they vote on the zoning side, they'll do their zoning site visit.
Okay.
And then that's when they vote. And then Old Town East is one of the civic associations. As a commission, we do just ask that you go and give them an opportunity to see your project as well, because they are also in the neighborhood. And then before our general body meeting, which is, what day is that? Next, is that 2 weeks? ago?
Second Thursday.
Second Thursday, they, as he said, would have wanted you to have Old Town East have seen your project voted on and get some kind of feedback.
Okay.
It is helpful before everyone else votes on the project, which happens at the general body meeting. That's helpful.
Yes, that helps. Thank you. So how do I schedule that, or?
Reach out to them.
Okay.
If you need a contact at Old Town East Neighborhood Association, help.
Okay.
It's on.
It's online also, okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much.
Now, 257, 259 North Monroe.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm Carrick. I'm the architect for the project. I'll let you get some drawings.
Thank you.
We are scheduled to visit Bronzeville at 3 o'clock this Saturday.
Yes.
So just to answer that question.
Thank you.
I apologize, I don't know what it's
Oh, wow.
like. I think it's loading, but because it hasn't loaded, it's just using that first page.
Sure.
There we go, okay.
So I'll just start out with quickly, the 3 variances are lot width, just like there is every project in Midtown area, we're 40 instead of 50. Lot coverage, this is a front to back split proposal. So after the split will be under the required square footage for the sides. Actually, I don't think we need a lot coverage because we've got more than 50% of both, but and then, fronting, because, the rear home will front a right-of-way that's, narrower than 35 feet, so it's now, so you have to get a variance for it to front on an alley. The buildings are fairly traditional in their architectural aesthetic. 2 stories each. There is yard space for both of them. The alley fronting home in the rear has a rear green space, and then the Monroe fronting building has a fairly sizable side yard on the north. So I'm trying to think of other questions that have come up this evening. If you scroll down a couple images there, there's just floor plans, roof pitches, the elevations, rendering of what the property would look like from Monroe. There are, in both buildings, there are west-facing second-story balconies. It would be on the front of the alley-facing building and on the rear of the Monroe-facing building. Then we have a page of proposed materials, and that's about it. I'm ready for questions.
Any planning comments? All right, so Commissioner Lowenstein, it's over to you.
Wow. No comments?
I was,
See, I knew there would be.
no, I really haven't been able to pull up the, what it looks like.
I see.
So that's why there's no comment.
So which which building here?
The first page is the Monroe facing building.
What are we looking at right now?
That is the Monroe facing building.
Okay.
Yep, so the top right is the front, so that's what would face Monroe. And the bottom right is what would face the interior yard.
Okay, and let's look at the other one.
The next page.
Yeah.
Down?
Down, yeah. So that is the alley facing building. So top right is what I would call the front, faces the alley. It's got a garage door with transom windows above, and then this balcony above that. It's got a deep recessed porch, but it's that way because it's, we're entering the home at the home plane instead of the garage plane. So there's a 5 by 15-foot long like side porch there, and that's adjacent to the driveway, so it will not feel necessarily as claustrophobic as maybe it looks in that very shadowed picture.
As you know, you've been here a lot of times. I mean, we typically have no problem or little problem with carriage houses in general. But here we're putting like 2 full-size houses on a single-family lot, and it's like, it does raise a bit of a question about, although, pretty much everything you've been bringing us is like, traditional design, pitches, overall appearance that will fit in, and, pretty much everyone's gonna acknowledge that, but it's like, those are 2 pretty good-sized houses, and bringing the parking access in on this long driveway, now we have like really very little yard left. Like, is there any reason other than just the economics of the thing of getting a second, pretty well full-size house on this alley? Is there any
Well, I
reason
mean,
for
as
doing that?
you know just as well as everyone, density creates eyes create safety.
Yeah.
In this part of the neighborhood, I really feel that that's a good thing. There's directly across the street from this is a parking lot for, that's an art center. On the opposite side of that art center is an open playground. So I mean, I think it's an appropriate use of the site.
Are you making a case that its location and what it's proximate to increases the validity of it?
Well, I mean, to a certain extent, yes. But on the other hand, not necessarily. I think, you know, as this city, and this neighborhood in particular, you know, grow and become more dense, you know, having full-sized homes on the alley is, you know, not necessarily out of character. It's worth noting that the property just to the south, is already split front to back.
Okay,
So,
well, that's the kind of thing I'm really asking, is there some
sure,
circumstance here that
yeah,
provides
I
great
mean,
justification for?
the parcel that would be just to the south of the alley facing building is its own parcel that is, isolated from Monroe. So theoretically, if someone could design a building to fit on it without any variances, there wouldn't be an issue, of course.
Okay. Anyone else on zoning?
So you mentioned the isolation of this building. My main concern is with it being alley facing, emergency services being able to get down there as far as like a fire truck to service this in the event of a fire.
To service the home,
Yeah,
so the fire department is going to have, requirements and, about meeting the Ohio Fire Code. And that has a lot to do with the valleys, with the pavement, distance from fire hydrants, things like that. I haven't checked necessarily where the closest fire hydrant is.
because normally the fire hydrants are gonna be along the main street, not in the alley.
Sure. So the Ohio Fire Code is gonna say that all parts of the building need to be either from 150 feet from a right-of-way that is traversable by a aerial vehicle, or 400 feet from a installed fire hydrant. The length, the depth of the lot, I believe, is less than 75 or 150 feet. So if a fire truck was parked on Monroe, they'd be able to service the alley building.
We want to go on Monroe here in the Street View, probably find a fire hydrant.
Absolutely.
You want to check it out.
You're on the street and go this way. Just,
I mean,
keep in mind, this is an old, so this is not gonna be
Well, they
super
want to
accurate,
put
but.
in.
because if we remember, before the Adelphi project was put in, there was question of fire truck access already with the way Talmadge, kind of makes a sharp 90 on the back side of that project.
Oh, you see it? Sorry. Ah,
So where is that at?
that's like right in front of 257. It's
Oh,
Right across the
problem
street.
is solved. But I think, you know, the question you raised is a good one, but you would know the answer to this. I think on multifamily like that, the requirements are different in terms of their ability to get a fire truck in there, because on a higher building like that, they've got to be able to get something in with a ladder. And that wouldn't be the case on a single family.
Yeah, that wouldn't apply to that, to this. The annex of the Ohio, not annex, it's the Part D, of the Ohio Fire Code for buildings that have an eave above 30 feet. That's when you're required to have aerial apparatus access. Our eaves are at 20 feet, so this building.
So it's just like on the ground. They don't do like it. So you raise a good question, but there's a fire across the street.
Okay.
It doesn't cool us down. Some questions? Anyone else on zoning have anything they want to ask? All right, back to you.
Okay, any community comments on this project? Did you?
No.
Oh, wait on this. Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the project.
Benson, oops, sorry.
You know, I was listening before you mentioned, I just had a follow-up question.
Oh, no.
Where does the second house get their mail?
The second house would, that's an interesting question.
I can go up to the lot, I don't, that's,
Yeah, I would imagine that would be, a function of how it's addressed. It's worth noting that this parcel already has two addresses. It's, was originally a double. So it's 257, 259. If the, if the mail person, if this is a walking route, which it likely is, the most convenient thing would probably be to have a mailbox, probably on the Monroe side for the rear building to access, kind of like a post or, you know, something like that. I mean, just for the convenience of the mail person. But I would imagine if it's addressed on Talmadge, that mail would be delivered to that.
I was just curious, so there's two houses on a double lot off the land, and you have to drive through the driveway to get to the second house, and I know the mail carrier personally, and he's just like, you know, so I was just curious, but by facing now, yes, that would be an issue.
should we find out?
No, question.
No, because I mentioned that because if you look around the corner, there are homes here, so I imagine like there's posts, I don't know, mailboxes on that backside, but I also just don't know how it works, I don't know if they would put one.
Figure it out, but it'll be interesting from the same person shooting for addresses, if they make them change the street, just because of the space.
Yeah, I would imagine this will be addressed on Talmadge, but considering it's very likely a walking route, I imagine it'll just be kind of like a normal front porch mail delivery.
Thank you. I think you moved by Commissioner Benson. Is there a second to the motion to approve the project?
I'll second.
Shields, second. All those in favor, raise your hand, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Opposed. Abstention. 1 abstention. 601. Project
Okay.
approved. Commissioner, Lucy will give you your marching orders.
Yep. Will probably be what, at like 9:40?
Let me safely remove your. Eject. They put any, or you, well, I guess we just put it in your pocket. Don't want to make you have to finagle on those,
We'll
you know?
make it 9:50.
9:50, all right, I got it.
Thank you.
Dave will get these cards to the appropriate people by Tuesday.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
You can talk about it.
Thank you.
So the next project is 1252 Atchison. Please introduce yourself, and you have 3 minutes to describe it.
Nate Oliver, 1252 Atchison Street. I had 3 copies, I gave one over here, 2 more. Anyone else? So, I purchased my,
Give me 1 second, dear Lord. Give me just a second here.
it's all good.
I've got it right here, just closed on me.
Very slow.
Yeah, I think it's the internet in here. Here we are. Give me 1 second, I'm pulling you up right. So let's get it. Does it have this? Does it have that? And you should be coming up here. Oh, I've got you right here. Does that look like you? 150? Okay.
Yep, so I purchased my home back in 2019, first time home buyer, so obviously a lot of history right there. It was just, at the time just me, my wife, and our son. Since then, we have expanded our family, and obviously the house that we're currently in isn't big enough, so what I am proposing is that we build a 2-story garage with the first floor being spot for two cars being down there, as well as a half bathroom.
Yeah.
Yep. So it'd be a half bathroom, as well as like a wash area. Then on the upstairs, it'd be a full bathroom up there, and then an open space to where I can serve as not only an office, but as well as a play area for my kids. I know the original plans that we sent over, I think you guys may have.
Sorry,
it
I'm
was
not,
just a copy.
yeah, give me 1 second.
Well, either way, that was just kind of like a conceptual copy of what we wanted to do. Obviously, when you look at those, that plan, it was, I believe, 2,200 square feet. Obviously, that would not fit into my backyard, so obviously we have condensed that to fit the 770 square foot footprint that we want. And this, obviously, for those who have it, have a hard copy. This is just a hand sketch that we had. The architect is currently working on the actual plan, so we'll get those here in the next couple of weeks. And then as far as the variances, obviously one of the biggest things being reducing the parking spots from the 4 to 2, as well as the frontage for the ADU that's in the back, no frontage on that one, as well as the height limit for the 2-story garage. I think that was 2 minutes.
Thanks.
Maybe a little.
You're right on.
So.
So my question is, how much rear space will be left? Because when I drove by, it's a pretty tight spot.
It's definitely a tight spot. Yep.
Yes.
Yep, definitely a tight spot. So on this piece, I believe on the rear, we're going to be taking up 1 minute. Space.
So you'll have an entry from the alley to.
Yeah, we'll have an entry from the alley, so we'll come from the alley over there. I believe.
So really the question is how much space between the new.
Oh, before the new and the home,
the
I
house
believe it's
itself.
about 7.5 feet, I want to say something like that.
7.5 feet.
Question, did your variances change? I know you changed changed a few of the plans, but that didn't change any of your variances, so it's still the same variance.
They're the same variances.
Okay.
Any other planning questions?
I guess I'll ask you, have you talked to, you were in Roswell, some Roswell Neighborhood Association?
So I have not reached out to Willis Brown. I'll be doing that after this meeting. I just wanted to at least have something to take over to him initially. But yeah, I'll be reaching out to him after this meeting just to set something up to talk to them. And I would note too, I originally wanted to buy the lots that were next door to my house. Which
When you go back, sorry, yeah.
So the lots that are next door, I originally reached out to buy those, or at least buy one of them to actually build bigger. But the land bank had it and found out today, after receiving a knock on my door, that the person who owns the 2 lots is Harry Zeller. So got to talk to him today, kind of let him know what we were doing over in that area. And he pretty much said once he saw the sign in my yard that that's when he started ripping up the trees. And he's actually planning on building, I believe, 2 houses next door to me with garages for both units as well. So all those trees right now that you see, those are gone. He actually put those out, I want to say last week. So.
Any other planning comments? Yes.
Just out of curiosity, I'm sorry. So how you said you needed the variance for the height?
Yeah, so it should be 29 feet, I want to say.
And how tall is your house? Like how much bigger is
It's
it gonna be of your
it's
house,
just
or
a-
is it just gonna match?
It's gonna just be right below it. So it's
Oh,
pretty
okay.
much matching. Yeah. So.
Gotcha.
But as far as that back alley, it would be the only 2-story, but there's 1, 2, and then with Mr. Zeller's 3, 4, and then 5 garages that are all over that area.
All right. Is there no other planning comments, Commissioner Lowenstein?
I just want to understand, make sure I understand what's planning here. So this, I mean, it's a little difficult because normally by the time we have this meeting, people have a little bit better defined plans. So I'm just trying to look at this and see if I
got something for me.
if I get it. But so we have about a 30-foot lot. Do we have something better?
Well, yeah, that would probably look a little bit better than that.
But everyone hasn't seen these.
I'll pass it around.
I mailed it over to.
No, they're
When did you see?
nice
Yesterday, I want to say.
things that you would do with a pencil on a ruler, but drafted. Yeah, I mean, they're okay.
A little bit better than
Yeah.
Yeah,
that.
yeah, give me,
But-
I
but
apologize,
I
I'm
mean,
trying to pull it
we
up.
can see at least, we have a typical two-door garage, you know, or two-space garage and a bunch of windows above it, where the whole height is 29 feet. That's established here. I'm less concerned about the style and appearance questions as I am about how this fits on the lot. So it's the site plan that is concerning. So when I look at that, I see a dimension that's 30, appears to be, does it say 35 feet?
This one here?
From the,
That's like from the alley to the back of the house.
to the back of the new structure is 35 feet? And it leaves 7.5 feet between that and the main house. So, that seems very, very tight, doesn't it?
Yes.
And so, I guess, I mean, given that the typical garage depth would be more like 20 to 24 feet, it's like, what's there now is just a place that you could park 2 cars.
Yes.
Or 3 cars even potentially, be off the alley, right? So that's what, so would you remind us, I know you said at the beginning what your plan was or why you were doing this, your family's gotten bigger, you need more space and all that. But I'm just wondering, what's the necessity of building such a large structure, given that you only have that much space to work with?
So when it comes to just outside play, obviously, like you said, we bought in 2019, sand there. And with this piece, we really just need a playroom for the boys. So the upstairs on the second floor of the garage, that would kind of serve as the playroom area for them. Just need a bigger space for that piece. So that's kind of, at least my thought process on there, make it oversized for that. And then also office space for me.
So are you building, I guess, from a zoning perspective, there's a valid question about, is this an intact dwelling unit going in above the garage? Does it have a kitchen? Does it have a bathroom?
Yes, it will have a full bath upstairs, yes.
Is there a food preparation facilities also or not? I'm trying to decide what it is, because normally what we see are, you know, somebody would want to do a carriage house or something. Is it a dwelling
It's
unit?
a 2-story finish, so I guess you.
Because sometimes we have people come in and they say, you know, I want to build this loft above my garage and it's for storage, or it's gonna be my workshop or something like that. And that raises different questions than if somebody's really building a dwelling unit in terms of its zoning impact. So I'm asking you, could this be an intact dwelling unit for, like, say, your plans could change, as I mentioned to folks before, like, we can't go on the basis of what you say you want to use it for, but does it lend itself to actually being rented to somebody else as a dwelling unit? Could that happen someday without changing the unit?
So great question. So I think on the second or third page, you'll see, there is like a kitchen area, full bathroom.
So there is a kitchen.
Oh, yeah, the second floor, yes, sir. But as far as being rented, no, it's not being rented for. It won't be.
Right, it's not what
No
you-
plans on that. Literally needed for this office space.
This is carriage house.
So it is a full house, okay. All right, okay, all right. Okay.
That's helpful.
I thought maybe I sent it to the wrong emails in that one.
Yeah, planning didn't
Do
receive.
you know what email you sent it to by any chance?
I responded to, the original reminder that had all the emails on it. I know one of the emails ended up getting bounced back from, it was like City of Columbus.
Yeah, so there's a NEAC planning@gmail.com and then a planning at, Jesus,
Near East area.
Yeah, Near East Area Commission, sorry, I'm a lot. Yeah, so there's planning at neareastareacommission.org and then NEAC planning at Gmail, but if we didn't receive it, you know, that's okay, we have these.
Does anyone else want to see this?
Yes, we would love to see it.
I mean, you may raise questions, so we're not voting.
So it's only two-story. Why your variance on your application says that it's 2.5 stories? So you're requiring a height variance also.
Yeah, well, from my understanding of the variance, any garage was over 15 feet.
Yeah.
I'd have the variance.
But it's not a garage anymore.
Well, it is a garage. On the first floor is a garage and there's a dwelling unit above.
I know, but he's referencing the garage height issue as the basis for asking for a height variance.
But he also has mentioned an ADU, and what
Yeah.
the city's new guidelines on ADUs as far as height.
No idea if that's a thing.
I'm sorry, ask me a question again.
It was, what is the new stipulation with the city's promotions of ADUs going in?
I don't think
This is an ADU.
Yeah, that's what he was.
The city, there is no change in the zoning code,
Yeah.
with regard to ADUs that I know of. The city encourages ADUs, you know.
Because he mentioned that it's gonna be shy of the.
Is there a height requirement for ADUs or a height limitation for ADUs?
I guess.
Only because this, I actually went through the application and wrote out all of the variances. They weren't on the original agenda, so I have them all here.
Yeah.
And because of the height and because of the width of the lot, there is a height variance.
Because it has to be a certain, yeah, there's a.
That's what
every
it's
foot.
about.
What it says is 3333.26. If the building is over 2.5 stories, then it may require a wider side yard minimum per 3332.26F.
Okay, so it's like relation to the side yard to how tall the building can be. And
That's right.
Does that have to do with shadows or is it?
Yes, and site doesn't, yes.
Yeah, okay, understood.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
And there is a variance for lot coverage. Lot coverage is going from 50% to 64%. Also, the garage requirement is minimum, it is a maximum of 722 square feet allowed.
This is just over.
And it is over that by 50 square feet. Plus, the lot is non-compliant at 40 feet, which is. And the side yards don't add up to 20% here. I mean, these are all variances that we've dealt with in the past.
Yeah,
I'm just reading all of the variances.
I know, I feel like, you know, our inclination is always to try to help people do things like this, but it's like, there's a real question here of whether it's a little too much structure for the yard. People can reach their own.
It's on a dead end alley, it drives through.
No, I know
really?
that, it's just about how much building.
Right, just go around.
Single family blocks, a lot. But I'm done. Anyone else wanna say anything? Back to you.
Thank you. Commissioner Benson.
I want to raise a question about, because seems like maybe it's a planning issue when we have planning principles around gentle density. If folks have any feelings around, like if this is good density, medium density, too high density, maybe it's good density for where the neighborhood's going. I actually don't have an answer to this. We're literally just closing this out. Because, you know, you've talked about what you want to do. Like Commissioner Lowenstein mentioned, you know, we do try to help people get what they need. Maybe it is too big, maybe it isn't, maybe it's the perfect size for what you need for a family, but do folks have any feelings about that, just as planning, because we're not, I mean, we're gonna vote on it in zoning, we're gonna do their site visit, but does it feel like it fits the neighborhood, it fits family needs, things like that?
In this particular, I will admit, in this particular case, it was kind of hard without seeing it, like seeing a rendering of it. Like that is kind of the ultimate, like, difficulty with this, is that we don't have that visual of how it's gonna look. Well, yes.
Yes.
3-point perspective, like of it.
And I would say that's probably hard. You said you do have an architect.
Yeah, it's just stacked up right now.
Okay, is that something they would be able to like give us in the future? I mean,
Oh, in the future, yeah, once it gets done,
okay. We have to.
I would say, before the monthly meeting or before the site visit, that's up to you here, but I would also like to remind this community, when we have neighbors coming in, we can't expect them to be at the level of a developer or to drop thousands of dollars on 4 or 5 architectural plans. So I mean, I don't know if that's a consideration we are supposed to do, but I think we have to take into consideration if we have a neighbor trying to do something in their house and we have a developer who has, 15 architects on staff. There's just gonna be something different. So to Roy's point, that this could be educational for our neighbors, I think that's kind of where we would lean. I'm not saying it's okay not to have one, but I'm saying if somebody's just trying to expand their family, I can't hold them to the same standard as I would somebody who has 10 architects on their staff. So I think it should continue to be educational, just like Roy mentioned.
My feeling is that this is a very tight lot now. The thing that I think is unusual is the 2-story garage. I think you will have the only 2-story garage in the neighborhood.
Probably, yeah,
Yeah. So that's really what I find, unusual about this project. We're putting a structure in the back of your house. It's not a garage, it's really an ADU. Was there another comment?
Yeah, I want to put the application does say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Commissioner Frost?
So to answer, Commissioner's question, I think this is the best kind of district. Because we have a neighbor who, instead of leaving the neighborhood, is looking to expand his home, it's his land, it's his house. And we talk about what future use might look like. How old are your boys?
4 and 9.
So we got 20 years before you start to play fast and loose with it. So there's that.
Yeah.
There is that. And then the other thing, to the previous comment, we want to be educational, we want things to be the way we want things to be, but we don't want to be a barrier. And for you to go out you're expanding your own home, and then for you to go and come to us and feel required to come with beautiful 3D, fully animated Pixar drawing renderings, I think is a barrier. I just think it's a barrier. And I don't think that I think we have enough vision as a group to look at it and say, okay, this is what I think is happening here. Eventually, we will see drawings. Your architect will do that. But I think for us to kick the can over to zoning and for us to move this forward to a site visit, I think, I wouldn't be comfortable making a requirement that I can't see it because I can't see it. That would be a problem for me, so.
Thank you. There was another comment from zoning.
So Commissioner Biffle made a comment that I have to kind of echo here, just because my personal experience when dealing with ACT, because as I put my realtor hat on, when they opened up their portfolio for RFIs, I approached them and I was not even given good communication because I had no idea they even opened up their RFIs. I was originally given 4 days to reach out to my client to get everything done that a developer does, that has all these architects, all these renderings, everything else. And when I brought that to their director's attention, I was basically told that this is the way it is because we have to keep it across the board. And I said, it is not fair to hold a neighbor who is looking to expand their lot to be what's the word I'm looking for? An asset to the community versus having a parking lot or something else to expand, to grow their garden space, whatever they wanted to do with it, only to have it outweighed by developers that were from outside the city reaching as far as Chicago. So this is where I'm at as far as like, you know, I think we should be promoting local first. And it needs to be across the board because it's not fair when you have a developer that has millions of dollars to invest in this, and I have a private homeowner who only has enough budget to purchase the land and then eventually expand on it by doing a garage or an ADU. So that's just my comment about the whole thing, because there seems to be some unfair standards here.
Thank you. Commissioner Chris, did you have a comment? Oh, please.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused on the variances on this project because they really, I mean, this is just a garage with, you know, a dwelling unit above it. Some of these variants are very confusing to me based on what you're trying to build. I would get a clarification from the city. If you're trying to build an ADU, I understand that you're trying to build a garage with a unit above it. And some of these variances just don't make any sense to me. There's no way trying to go.
A lot of those variances that we put down there, it was more so variances that were recommended by the city, so it was just more.
These are the variances that the city staff
One of the staff
told
members.
you have?
Yeah.
Did you write these?
No, this is the staff.
Yeah, okay.
So I was based it off of that.
Okay.
Any other comments, community comments? All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the project.
Benson, motion to approve.
Benson has, Commissioner Benson's moved, is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Frost seconds, all those in favor, raise your hand, please. 7. Any opposed? No. Any abstentions? No. 7-0-0. Commissioner Lowenstein will give you.
Okay, so, you'll be coming, the next step is the zoning site visit meeting, June 7th, 10:15. Yeah. Okay, the other one might not take that much time, but we might be running a few minutes over at the door, et cetera. So at 10:15, so you have these cards, so you put the stickers on the cards and you fill out the back of all the cards with that date and time. The location is, of course, the address itself, okay? And then fill them out tonight or bring them back here and get them to Mr. O'Leary by next Tuesday. Okay?
Thank you so much.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and for the site visit meeting, please do bring some drawings to show us a little better what it is.
Weeks behind,
I understand, but that's a
drawings that I
deadline.
sent over, it was like 2,200 square feet, which you see.
Would you go ahead and send us those documents?
Yeah, so I'll send these ones, and then when I get the other ones.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, any other business before we adjourn? Motion to adjourn, please. Second.
Second.
We are adjourned at,
8:15.
8:15.
Yes.
Yay.
Yay. Thanks, Commissioner Bob.
You're welcome.
You got me out of time to go through everybody.
Plus, everyone's wanted to mark for my eyes.
If they don't have enough, yeah, so they have all the kitchens are doing a short line. And then that's what if it's like, you literally, it's like there's one that goes like to the North Market, like North Market.
And
actually, yeah, and now it's, I think it's back, because it's smell like North Market. My husband